Yo, what up guys, ARTFX, and today we're gonna do a bass design video with Parawave RAPID. We're gonna be making a glitch hop bass, kinda like the earlier Koan Sound kind of stuff. It sounds a little bit like this. Let's get to it. So I've got RAPID open right here. I'm not gonna go and do this all from scratch. I kind of like just played around with the plugin a little bit to see what I can do with it. And I find the sample-based oscillators really interesting. So let's just get to it. It's made up out of two layers, so we're gonna focus on the first layer first. I've got two oscillators basically that I've set up, oscillator A and B, and the whole core part of the sound is coming from that oscillator A. So I'm gonna turn off the filter, and let me turn off the modulation as well, and I'm gonna turn off the effects. So now we're just hearing that first oscillator. So if I bring the phase all the way down, you can hear it's kind of like an electric bass sample, but it has a really distinctive transient at the start of the sound, which I don't really like. So what I did is I brought the phase up to 12. What that's gonna do is just gonna make sure that this is gonna start slightly later in the sample, and that's how I got rid of that little transient at the start. So I've got a little clip right here, which I can show you. It's written in the key of F minor, and it's actually the F minor pentatonic. So the key thing is, when you want to make something sound funky, a good way to start is by using the pentatonic version of the minor scale. It only uses like 5 notes, and just playing with a pentatonic scale will make something sound quite funky compared to when you play with the normal minor scale. So that's what I did right here, and I can play you this little clip. And be aware, but this is really almost like, I'm not sure which Koan soundtrack, but it's really similar. So, let's get to it. You know, what can we do to this? Now, the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to add a little bit more of a transient at the start of the sound. The thing is, I wanted to make this slightly different from what Koan Sound did in his track. I mean, this is already good enough. I mean, this is pretty much like the intro bass that he did in this track. But I kind of like want to make something slightly different. So I added the second oscillator. And by the way, these oscillators here, if you go into the factory sounds, the oscillator browser, the first ones are basically wavetables, but if you go down, you get a factory sounds multi-sample category, and right here you can find the electric bass. These are actually multi-sampled oscillators, so that's pretty cool. Every note you trigger, it's just gonna trigger a different sample, which is really cool. It gives you a really nice sound. So then I have a second oscillator, and this one, we can't really hear it right now because the volume is being controlled by an envelope. So I need to turn on the first envelope, and it is envelope C, so this one. And this one is controlling the volume of the second oscillator. So that's pretty much all it's doing. And I'm using a phase modulation on the FX type, so if I bring that all the way down, that's pretty much how it sounds. And then I just add that FX amount. I'm not really sure if you can hear a difference, but when I was actually programming the patch, doing this actually changed the sound quite a bunch. So I also set this FX factor to +7. Okay, so that's the ratio of the phase modulator. It's kind of like, you know, really technical terms, but I don't know, I'm not even too sure what it all means right now. but it sounds cool, right? So I brought the pitch down to -12 semitones, so that's a full octave. And these two layered now, you can hear that I kind of like created a different transient at the start of the sound, other than the one that was originally in the electric bass sample. So that sounds pretty cool, right? I think I haven't done much else. Oh yeah, I added a little bit of unison to the second one, so that's set to a unison of 2 voices. And I brought the bass down a little bit, so what that basically is, it's basically a kind of like an equalizer. You can take out some bass or add some treble. It's nice to just blend sounds together and really make them work together. So that's what I did, and that's basically it for the oscillator. So now we have something that sounds like this. So that sounds cool. I decided to run that through a filter, and that filter is a low pass 12. You can see what I'm doing here. Now I think the filter is being controlled by another envelope. Yes. So the filter cutoff is being controlled by envelope B, and you can see it right here. It's a pretty long decay time. Sustain is all the way down, and it's just closing off the filter. So it's really taking off a lot of the high frequencies at the start of the sound, which makes it a lot more again like the acoustic bass or the electric bass sample, but it still has a little bit of a different transient now at the start, and that's something that I think is really important. It gives the start of each note a little bit of a weight, and I think that's pretty cool. So I also got the exciter here on the insert, which is just adding a little bit of harmonics. So just adding some harmonics to the low end, making it sound a little bit heavier, a little bit fuller, I have to say, actually. I think that's everything for the filter and the oscillators. Now the only thing I did here is I added a bunch of effects. So the first effect is the distortion, and I just chosen a preset, chosen the preset dynamic, and that's without, and this with. It just really adds a nice gritty sound to it, so that's something that I personally really like. Then I have a compressor, and I chosen the preset limit. Now I just wanted to, save some time and just, check out some of these presets, because they actually have some cool presets in here as well. So I took limit, which is just gonna squash the bass. I think that sounds really cool. Then I have a chorus, but you're not actually gonna hear it right now because the mix is all the way down. But that mix is being controlled by this second modulation slot, and you can see I'm routing it to the macro knob number 1, which is up here. So what happens is, if I bring this macro up, we're actually gonna hear that chorus sound. And I wouldn't say this is something I would use all the way throughout the track, but it's cool to add as a variation at, for instance, the end of a phrase. So I also have a little reverb in here, where I brought the low cut up a lot, so it's basically just high frequencies, and there's only really most of the high frequencies are at the start of the sound, so it actually just adds a little bit of reverb to the start of each sound, and it just gives it a bit of ambience. Nothing too much, just a tiny little bit. Now for that chorus, I brought the speed all the way down, so that means it's not really modulating the chorus with an LFO. It's pretty much like a static chorus sound, and then I'm using the mix to kind of like blend it in when I want to. Now, to give you a little demonstration of how that sounds, it sounds like this with the chorus turned on. So that's a pretty cool sound, and it's something I think could be useful for maybe just transitioning into a next part of a track, you know, something like that. That's basically it for the entire sound. There's one more thing I did, and that's I added a sine wave sub. So that's just a sine wave, pitched it down 2 octaves, and that's about it. And I added a little volume envelope, so that just closes it off a little bit, just like the electric sample does from itself. You know, you can see the electric bass, it just starts loud and then drops down and just gets quieter and quieter. So that's kind of like what I did here as well. I just mimicked that kind of thing. So yeah, that's it, and that's how you create a bass sounding a little bit like the old Koan soundtracks. Sounds a little bit like this. So yeah, there you have it, guys. I hope you like this video. If you want to see more of these videos, and if you want to help me grow this channel up to 50,000 subscribers, which would be absolutely awesome, subscribe to this channel and leave a comment below this video what you want me to do a video about. If you want to learn something about music production, leave a comment below and I'll see if I can do a video about that. Also, I'm running a group chat on Discord, so if you want to have a little chat with me or a whole bunch of other producers who watch my videos and just get some tips on your own music, go to the description below this video. You will find a link. You can use that link to join my Discord server where you can actually chat with me and a whole bunch of other producers. I hope you like this video, and I'll see you back soon. Peace!